Oh shit, we're back! To the future. Why didn't they call Back to the Future 2 just Back to the Future with the numeral 2?
Yeah.
In place of the word 2? I'm just saying it's like it's an easy, it's like a slam dunk. Right?
Back to the... Yeah, I don't know.
Nice try. I appreciate the effort. Yes, I will never forget that. I don't know who's talking here. Happened in April of 1987. Received a certain strange request from a friend. It was a large collection of books, the former possessions of a very rich man, that were being sold at auction, and it was thought that some of them might have been extremely valuable to the study of archaeology and folklore, as well as in an occult sense. So this friend wanted to witness their worth confidentially.
That was 87, half a year after the crime on Rokkenjima.
Correct. It was explained that those books had escaped the disaster at Rokkenjima. The owner of the island, Miss Ushiromiya Eva, had put them up for auction.
Selling off Kinzo's library before the body's even cold.
There you go. This was apparently a high-class restaurant. Oh wait, this is Angie still.
Yeah.
You want me to still do... Or you got it?
I'll do my best.
Okay.
This was apparently a high-class restaurant. A middle-aged man was sitting across from me, Angie, in a secluded and quiet seat.
Nice.
Amakusa could be seen by the entrance. He was probably keeping a lookout for pursuers from the Sumadera family. The scholarly man across from Angie spoke politely, but with enthusiasm. The same, but zoomed out!
You don't get new images? Oh, wow. Get on.
But he does get zoomed out.
He does get zoomed out, yep.
He didn't lay a finger on the food in front of him, so you could tell how excited he was as he spoke fervently. He was a professor at a certain college, and particularly well known as an authority on Western folklore. However, among his life works, that was only a convenient exterior. His true life work was the study of occultism, Western magic, alchemy, and everything else to do with the occult, as well as demonology. In short, he was the person in the best position to understand the details of Kinzo's research.
First, what I learned by appraising those books was that Miss Ushiromiya Eva had absolutely no education in the study of folklore, and that the original owner of the books, Ushiromiya Kinzo, was certainly one of the top 5 authorities on demonology in Japan.
April 1987. A major city antique shop obtained a large quantity of ancient documents that were thought to have a high historical value. They were entrusted with them by Ushiromiya Eva, who wanted them to be sold at auction.
It's more of me, bitch.
At the time, it was thought that Eva would succeed the Ushiromiya family and have all the wealth to herself as the only survivor. However, at that point, not even half a year had passed since the accident, and the others had not been missing long enough to be presumed dead. Missing.
There were no bodies.
Even under extraordinary circumstances. And because of that, Eva had supposedly been in a very tight spot financially, unable even to collect on her family's life insurance.
There were no bodies. That is such an important detail.
Yeah. It seems she tried to sell everything of value, and even the books kept in the place where she'd escaped harm in, Kuadorian, were used for this purpose. That name again.
Yeah, that's the name of the other mansion.
Indeed. But, I totally was not convinced there was one.
She said it in red.
Yeah. These old books, which would eventually be called the Ushiromiya Library, were later gathered from antique shops by authorities in the field so that they could be appraised, and those authorities were astounded.
At last, speaking from perspective of occultism, the impact of that discovery on the world was comparable to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is because contained within the Ushiromiya Library were many extremely vital documents that had never been found, though their existence had been known of for more than a millennium.
The many dreams of the occult, such as those represented by alchemy, always stirred an intense fascination in dilettantes. It is whispered that many magic books of great historical value, currently unknown to the public, might be in the secret possession of extremely wealthy lovers of the occult. Items such as Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks, which are particularly popular among dilettantes, are said to be prime examples of this, It is said that approximately 5,000 pages of these notebooks currently exist, and that over 10,000 have been lost. Some researchers believe that a large part of this lost portion may be monopolized by certain enthusiasts and members of the extremely rich. It is said that because of this, even now, dilettantes who can't help but seek these spare no expense to search around for quietly hoarded away and unannounced notebooks. There is probably no doubting that Ushiromiya Kinzo was himself one of those dilettantes. No one knows what Kinzo went through to obtain those, but there can be no mistake that he used his vast wealth freely, buying them off of other rich people with the same hobby as him. Those books, which were so valuable that enthusiasts could never satisfy their desire to hoard them away, were discovered in large numbers at the end of the 20th century, and their release to the public had given the entire world a massive shock.
Because of this case, the name Rokkenjima became known across the world. The world was also shocked to learn that, in all likelihood, a large number of even more valuable undiscovered books were lost during the accident on Rokkenjima. Because of this, the names of the Rokkenjima and the Ushiromiya Library will remain in our memories for all time.
Did the mansion burn down? Why would
Certainly
they be lost?
seems like it. I think we've heard an allusion to that before. That the mansion itself was
destroyed.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think we have heard at least one other person allude to that before now.
Oh, right. I forgot to read the first line.
That's fine.
Our memories. That R probably meant the occult neck of the woods with the same hobby as Kinzo. Because of that incident, the name of Rokkenjima had taken on a vital meaning in the world of the occult.
Oh, I'm gone now. Goodbye.
There certainly had been a lot of reporting about the accident on Rokkenjima itself, but not on an international level. However, this one part had spread across the world, taking the image of Rokkenjima as a small island in the Izo archipelago, and painting it over as a demonic island where riddles, suspicion, mystery, and the occult met. In other words, until Kinzo's library was leaked to the public by Eva, Rokkenjima had been merely a nameless island that no one could remember, and certainly not the island of a witch. However, when knowledge of the Ushiromiya Library spread all over the planet, Rokkenjima's image immediately took on an occult twist.
What happened next was the discovery of the message bottle. That was what turned the island into a witch's island. This is alluding back to chapter 1.
Yeah.
Where we get the message in a bottle from Maria.
Yep.
Yeah, which is something we had forgotten about. But this does happen. A nameless island in the Izo archipelago began to transition into an island of the occult, the island of the mysterious witch Beatrice. You might say that lacking either the Ushiromiya Library or the message bottle, the Rokkenjima witch legend would never have been established.
The message bottle.
Yes, message in a bottle.
Sending out an SOS?
Sending out an SOS
to the world?
To the world.
Not a boomer.
Not a boomer. Yes, the form of communication to an unspecified target by throwing an empty bottle with a letter sealed inside it into the sea. It was a once a famous way of sending an SOS to the world from a deserted island, but it became the influence of a certain prominent foreign detective novel. It has also become known as a method of confessing the truth after one's own death, like a time-delayed will. The case of the Rokkenjima message bottle was certainly one of the latter.
This is the thing everyone says a fisherman on a nearby island picked up?
Correct. We learned that a young fisherman, John the Fisherman, on Rokkenjima, picked up a wine bottle with a letter in it. This young fisherman kept it just out of curiosity. Then, because Rokkenjima had fallen under the world's attention due to the Ushiromiya Library, he announced his discovery.
Is there any chance that it was a fabrication made by the fisherman?
Of course, we weren't able to deny that possibility. The scraps of paper in the wine bottle were signed by a certain member of the Ushiromiya family, a girl named Ushiromiya Maria. However, after looking at the writing left on her former belongings, it was confirmed that this message was written in a different person's handwriting. Oh, was it now?
A different person's handwriting?
Correct. At the very least, I believe there can be no doubt. It was written by a person more skilled at writing and of a greater age than her. There's a very high likelihood that someone faked her name when they wrote it. Therefore, at that point in time, the contents of those scraps of paper were thought to have a very low credibility.
However, Later on, it was confirmed that a similar message bottle had been recovered from the nearby ocean on the day of the accident by the police in their search for lost articles, and this caused a sensation.
It seems that, due to evidence from the surrounding area, and the fact that the bottle had been sealed, police had decided that its likelihood of being a fabrication was low, and that it had been abandoned no earlier than a few days before the accident. A few days before the accident?
Mm-hmm.
And the handwriting for both matched. This caused the credibility of the scraps of paper discovered by the fishermen to rise. It seems magazines and the like have reported on the contents of the message bottle repeatedly, but would you like an explanation?
No. I know about it, more or less.
Oh, you sure? That's one of my many hobbies.
Many scraps of paper had been stuffed into both of the wine bottles. It was an extensive notebook written by someone calling themselves Ushiromiya Maria, but who wasn't Maria, and which told of the events starting the day before the accident and up until the day of the accident in a diary-like way.
What?
And its contents had been the beginning of the Witch's Legend serial murder incident, as well as the Golden Witch Beatrice's puzzle.
What?
This bizarre diary-style notebook described how the Ushiromiya family members, nailed down on the island by the typhoon, were caught up in a ceremony for the resurrection of a witch, and killed one by one in inexplicable ways. And in the end, the Golden Witch Beatrice revived, and everything was flung into the Golden Land. It was written almost as though it was a complete account of the events on those days. Also, it depicted the current situation on the island at the time in great detail, and the former servants who used to work for the Ushiromiya family gave testimony that it had definitely been written by a human who knew the inside details of the islands.
Huh.
So because of a combination of the occult boom from that strange fantasy novel and the Ushiromiya library, as well as the fact that the truth remained shrouded in darkness, the legend of the Rokkenjima witch was born?
Correct. More than 10 years have already passed since that case, and it's still a focus of interest for occult enthusiasts around the world. No, to the contrary, you could say that it's become increasingly deified as time passes. There are still many enthusiasts who try to secretly land on Rokkenjima, even though it's prohibited. Could there be another message bottle that has still not been discovered? And on that day, what really happened on that island? There's still so much to be discussed.
As though he had finally remembered that he'd been going on and on for some time, the man took a gulp of water. Sip 'em if you got 'em. His potage was...
Potage.
Whatever that is, was getting cold, but it seemed that the man's hunger had already been blown away. I'm pretty sure I heard that the fisherman's scraps of paper and the police's scraps of paper had completely different contents. One of them lined up with the events of Chapter 1 of Umineko no Nakukoro ni.
What?
And the second one are aligned with the contents of Chapter 2.
Oh, you're not allowed to get that meta, actually. Correct. Due to that, interest in the Rokkenjima mystery increased even further. Inside both bottles were diary-style notebooks on which was written an account from the day before the accident until the day of the accident. However, while both of their contents described the same 2-day period, they were completely different. It was as though one was the truth and one was the lie. Or perhaps both were lies. In any event, the beginnings and endings alone matched each other. In the beginning, the 18 people, including the relatives, are sealed up on the island by the typhoon. And in the ending, everyone dies. The Golden Witch is revived and everything is flung into the Golden Land.
The contents of both message bottles wrote about the events of the day before the accident and the day of the accident.
I think you're right, that is day 1 and day 2.
But the details were completely different. Both diaries outline a serial murder following the epitaph of the witch, but the order of the sacrifices, the ways they died, and even the tale of the 2 days were different. However, in both, everyone died at the end, and the witch revived, making for the same general plot.
Holy fuck, that is just... Wow, that throws my entire theory about the framing of the game out the window, doesn't it? Well, not necessarily, because it's still her reading those stories and interrogating them with the knowledge she has, trying to recreate what plausible scenarios might have occurred with them.
Mm-hmm.
But then gets to the end and dismisses them because that's not how it could have worked. Because the only survivor, Miss Ushiromiya Eva, has remained silent about what actually happened on that island. The events of the entire 2-day period are shrouded in darkness. These 2 diaries presented a full 2 theories to wipe away that darkness. Those 2 days could be explained with either of those 2 diaries. However, we don't know which is correct or even if there's anything correct contained within them.
Schrodinger's cat box.
Oh, hold on. Let me order a shot. I gotta take a drink whenever someone mentions it.
Me too.
But you're not of age yet. No, it's alright, I understand.
If it isn't denied, even a mixture of truth and fiction can be the truth. Through the media, these scraps of paper had of course been shown to Ava as well, but in the end, she never broke her silence. Who sent the message bottles, and why?
Earlier in the special issue for the crime's 10th anniversary, a certain magazine took that topic up for discussion in a grand manner, didn't they? The theory seems to be the one garnering the most support lately. But it's rather dull. What happened on that island on that day? Considering this question is the true charm of the witch hunt.
The witch hunt?
Yes, the Rokkenjima witch hunt. It's the name of a group of enthusiasts who tried to explain the truth of that crime from an occult perspective. Discussion of the mysteries that surround Rokkenjima, from the Ushiromiya Library to the mysterious 2-day period of the legend of the Golden Witch, is flourishing even today among enthusiasts. For the 10-year anniversary, an international convention was held in New York. I also participated as a representative of Japan. I was able to intermingle with the zealous overseas witch hunters in many ways. Witches are a very popular category overseas. The age span of the participants stretched from elementary schools at the bottom all the way to famous cultural figures at the top. Even in Japan in recent years there was finally.
You probably don't need any more explanation, but he's one of the most famous Rokkenjima witch hunters in Japan.
Are you talking directly to us now, Angie?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Even though I didn't ask anything more, he kept continuing on excitedly all by himself. As I swirled the thin film on my potage with my spoon, I shrugged my shoulders and sighed. Looks like researching about the message bottle really was a waste of time. No, if there's one thing I've found, it's that the notebook, supposedly written by Maria One-chan, was actually written by a different person faking her name. And that person wrote up an occult legend on their own, put it into the bottle as though it was the truth, and threw it into the sea. I have a question. Why would they go to all the trouble of writing so much in order to prepare a suspicious letter like that? With a message bottle, there'd be no guarantee that it'd ever pass into anyone's hands. If their luck had been bad, it could have sunk in the ocean, never to be seen by anyone. And even if someone had picked it up, they might have not cared about it and thrown it away.
Maybe there were more? Those were the only 2 that made it?
Yeah. Why would they entrust their confession of the truth to the sea with such an uncertain method? And why would they write up multiple differing tales? If there'd been one message bottle, claiming that its story was the truth might be reckless, but not impossible. However, because there were 2, that made both of them doubtful. If someone was plotting to make out those 2 days to be the work of a witch, then they really did go one step too far. And because there were 2, it suggests that an undiscovered third one, or possibly even more, might exist. In other words, the 2 differing contents makes both of them harder and harder to swallow. But despite that, the contents of both matched in that they told of a witch in a tale. So is that the main point the writer wanted to get across to us? It seems to me that the only possible explanation is that someone who wanted to give rise to an illusion of a witch carried out this crime for their own enjoyment. However, the 17 people other than Aunt Ava lost their lives, and a vast wealth, or maybe even 10 tons of gold, had moved around secretly in the darkness. It doesn't feel right for a confession occurring after all that to bring up this illusion of the witch.
Huh.
Even if we ignore the magazine's theories, it's very doubtful that the message bottle really was a diary. After all, the amount of writing was massive. It's hard to imagine that someone actually caught up in the middle of a serial murder like that would be able to calmly write it down.
It's weird learning that these accounts are things that actually exist in the world.
And that are exactly as long as Umineko.
Yeah.
In that case, it's probably more realistic that this diary was written slowly over a long period of time, up until the day prior to the accident. Oh. In that case, Would it mean that everything on Rokkenjima was a planned crime, with everything prepared for over a long stretch of time? The fact that Aunt Ava left this world without saying anything is infuriating. She definitely said it on her deathbed. She definitely said that her reason for not telling me the truth was because it was her best way of harassing me. Yeah, by now it's painfully obvious. Of all the things Aunt Ava did to harass me, this was probably the last and the greatest. But thinking of it this way, it's pretty doubtful that Aunt Ava is the true culprit. Of course, that's not because the handwriting on the message bottle was different from Aunt Ava's or anything like that. It's because in both tales that were discovered, Aunt Ava was included among the victims. If the writer of that diary was the culprit, maybe Aunt Ava was also one of the targets to be killed. Maybe Aunt Ava survived because something went wrong. Because I hated Aunt Ava, I came to believe that she had to be the culprit. But the existence of the message bottle makes me suspect that the mastermind is a far more profound and unknown person than her. That's really interesting.
That's really interesting.
I looked at the clock. I've heard more than enough. It's time. As he continued to speak fervently, I suggested that I wanted to bring this discussion to a close. He seemed to be aware that he'd gotten excited and talked too much, so he quickly accepted this. Thank you very much for today. I believe I've heard something truly valuable.
No. It's truly fun to be able to welcome a young lady as a new friend of the witch hunt. I've had many precious materials that I couldn't show you because of this change, to a different venue from the usual. I'd be glad to show you them at the next chance we get.
Thank you, Professor. Could I ask one more thing?
Yes, what is it?
Professor, why are you interested in witches? No, in occultism and demonology.
Well, that is somewhat embarrassing. A daydream I had in my childhood. If I could use a mysterious power, I could take on even the biggest of bullies. Went on to become my life's work. After all, the primitive desire of admiring unknown power is as universal today as it was in the past.
Everyone just gets into magic because they were a friendless, bullied child.
No.
Oh no. Professor, if you could do it, would you want to become a witch? Do you still dream of being able to use magic at will?
Oh, but of course. Even though at this age I understand logically that such a thing couldn't exist, I cannot forget my childlike dreams, such as flying in the sky and turning scrap iron into gold. If you would, please keep this a secret from my students.
If I told you that I was a real witch, would you believe it?
My pet theory from my few experiences with women is that they're all witches.
Angie snorted at the old professor, who must have been an earnest scholar with barely any experience with women. Yeah. And one final question. Professor.
Yes, the nose is real. It's not a prosthetic. I get that all the time. I don't pad my nose. It's really just this big.
Have you seen the original message bottle itself?
I have indeed.
In that case, do you know that handwriting well?
Of course. I'm not a specialist in that area, but at least when it comes to the handwriting of the message bottle, I'm proud to be the most knowledgeable in Japan.
At that point, Angie set a book on the desk with a thud.
And this is? I've never seen it before.
He prided himself on his thorough knowledge of all literature related to Rokkenjima, and he looked bewildered at this binding that he hadn't seen before. Ignoring him, Angie silently flipped through the pages, opened to one of them, and showed him. On that page was a handwritten paragraph beginning with, "To my beloved witch apprentice." And at the end, there was a signature in katakana that said, Beatrice.
This is...
The instant he glanced at it, his face went pale. She knew the answer before asking, but Angie asked it aloud anyway. Does the handwriting in the paragraph on this page match the handwriting in the message bottle?
Well, I must take this home and investigate more, but pardon me for asking, but what in the world is this book? Where did you get it?
The man stretched out his hand, but Angie pulled it back, as though telling him not to touch it with his filthy hands. Thank you. Just that reaction is all I need. Thank you very much for today. Here's the reward I promised. As she stood up, clutching Maria's diary, Angie carelessly tossed a wad of 10,000 yen notes wrapped with a strip of paper onto the table. As Angie turned her back to him and made to leave, the man raised his voice as though clinging to her, but Angie didn't stop walking.
I beg of you, what in the world is that book? I don't need a reward, show me the book!
Both you and I are in the witch hunt, but it looks like we aren't pursuing it at the same level. You're entertaining yourself with the outside of the cat box, and what I want to know about is the inside of the cat box. And this book is the key to opening it. It's too good for you. Well then. Goodbye, gentlemen. Have a nice day.
Please, wait! Sumadera-san!
Oof. Ooh. His voice didn't reach her. She had already joined up with Amakusa and gone into the car.
Oof. Did you find anything?
Only at the very end. I was right. The one who wrote the message bottles was Beatrice herself.
Trying to insist on her own existence? Cool. Way past cool. So you've concluded the witch actually exists.
He's even got the stripe of red. That's Shadow the Hedgehog.
It's Shadow the Hedgehog.
Who knows?
Faker? Oh, I think you're the fake hedgehog around here.
Mind if I sleep? I'll bet that talkative professor gets lost in his own little world in lectures and makes a lot of kids fall asleep.
Please go ahead, take a rest.
Still, that went really well. That guy believed I was a Sumadera until the very end. The Sumadera family had set up a web beforehand around any people Angie might try to contact. They had offered a reward to anyone who could take Ushiromiya Angie into custody if she appeared. Angie had foreseen that and had snatched it away. She had called herself Sumadera, and after cleverly tricking the man by saying her own subordinates would set up an ambush so he didn't need to worry about it, she had taken him outside. So when the Sumadera family pursuers reached the professor's house, there was no longer anyone there. According to the family, a young man and woman calling themselves Sumadera visited this morning, took the professor out with them, and still have not returned. There's a chance we were outmaneuvered.
What a bad child, Angie-chan. I wonder if that craftiness is from Nei-san's blood. To think she'd casually take on the name of Sumadera after saying she hated to go by it so often. The professor should be returning soon. When he does, we must serve him some tea.
Yes, understood.
I wonder if she thinks she's leading me around by the nose. What a naughty child.
With a demonic look on her face, Kasumi violently stamped her heel.
Ow. Someone fetch me a new heel.
I'll teach you. About my magic of origins. No, I taught you before, right? And you used it before. Did you forget? You were also a witch apprentice, Angie, with your name entered into Mariage Sorcière, weren't you? I was also included among the witches, wasn't I? I closed Maria's diary and flopped down on a very high-class looking bed. I'd slept deeply for a long time in the car, so it took longer than usual for drowsiness to set in, and I read the diary as I waited. This was a super expensive hotel in the city. Since it was often used by the rich and the famous, they were very big on confidentiality. That made it very convenient for Angie to escape her pursuers. The idea that renegades should spend their nights hiding in cheap hotels is a commoner's way of thinking. To me, Angie, who possessed all the wealth of the Ushiromiya family, renegade life was comfortable indeed. Of course, even though he was a guard, Amakusa was a man, and therefore in a separate room. Angie used the bedroom of the suite, and Amakusa lay on the sofa in the living room. According to Amakusa, the sofas here were more pleasant than his own beds had been recently. Poor guy. When I looked at the clock, I saw that it was almost 2 in the middle of the night. I'm still not getting sleepy. I sighed deeply. At that time, even though there was no wind, I had the feeling that Maria One-chan's diary fluttered.
Boo. Boo.
Then One-chan appeared. Her form was no longer the normal one I'd known. She was wearing the dress that Beatrice had given her after acknowledging her as a witch.
If you don't get some sleep, it'll be tough tomorrow, right?
If I were a witch too, I'd be able to use magic, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you can use it. I taught you, didn't I? Taught you how to use it, and you were able to use it in the past, weren't you?
I remember. I've started wanting to use it.
Are you starting to feel lonely?
Not really. It's not like having a different pillow every night is that tough.
Oh my god, rich people problems.
The first step to magic can be loneliness or boredom, even small reasons like that.
Even if it's just trying to kill time until you can fall asleep?
Yep, I'm glad you remembered about magic one more time. I'm not making ooh noises anymore.
Huh.
Interesting.
It's been quite a long time since I last used magic. At one point, with Maria One-chan's introduction, I touched a corner of it and opened the door a tiny bit. So, I should still remember that sensation.
Right now, your magical power has declined significantly, Angie. If you don't devote yourself to the basics, it'll be hard, okay?
Sure. Checking all directions. Securing a quiet space.
What about Makusa-san?
He's sleeping. After opening the door to the living room a crack, I could see the blanket caterpillar on the sofa roll over in its sleep.
With your magical strength as weak as it is now, the anti-magic power is affecting you too much. Not just the sight of people, but voices, sounds, and even the presence of people will get in the way of your magic. Sever those completely. Like how an ancient magician set themselves up in ateliers to preserve their isolation.
I remember. The very existence of humans blocks magic. Therefore, the very act of showing magic to people is the sign of a high-level witch. Obtain a quiet space for yourself alone. That should be enough to prepare a space to use magic.
Next is the vessel. Right now, it's important for your bike to at least have training wheels. No, a chain.
This is, of course, impossible. Angie rubbed her own head. She wore hair accessories there with pink gems attached. They felt a little childish for Angie, but she never took them off, not even for a single day.
Yeah. It really will be impossible for you now, Angie. If you practice every single day since then, you might have gained the ability to summon with that by now.
If I were to start training now, how long would it take?
It's said that a year of magical training for a child is worth 10 years for an old person. You need a lot of determination.
You mean like Ushiromiya Kinzo? So just like the piano and the violin, getting a special education from a young age is huge when it comes to magic.
As you are now, your power has weakened since the time you were first able to use magic, Angie. Don't overdo it, and devote yourself to the basics.
After stubbornly rubbing those things on my head one more time, I gave up. Then I started fishing through the knapsack, looking for anything that might make a good vessel. Shouldn't this be a perfect vessel?
It's been a long time. Yes, with this thing even you should be able to perform a summons as you are now. And they have no master now. It should be possible for you to become their new master, Angie. It's gonna be really sad when the camera cuts in at Sakutaro.
Among the things that looked like good vessels. Oh, that's you again.
Among the things that looked like good vessels, I took the one I thought might possess the strongest magical power, and set it on the side table near the bed with a clatter. It was a shady-looking, stake-shaped weapon with an occult design inscribed on it.
Oh shit, is she gonna get a big-breasted One-chan?
It was one of the 7 stakes of purgatory, which the witch used to offer sacrifices. When the police had been searching the family's possessions, they had collected a large amount of junk. After the investigation had finished, these had been politely returned to the Ushiromiya family. Finding something that I'd seen in the pictures of Maria's diary, I took it home with me.
Originally, there were 7 stakes of purgatory. How pitiful. Now she's the only one left.
One-chan smiled, looking lonely. I pulled another book out of the knapsack. This was also old-fashioned, and you could tell that it was an occult book just by looking. But its contents were plain. It was one of Maria One-chan's elaborate notebooks. This wasn't a diary. This was a grimoire, which she had written as a witch. The 7 stakes of purgatory are Beatrice's furniture, created by her and employed only for her sake. But since Beatrice is also a witch of mariage sorcière, they could be employed by Maria, a witch of the same alliance. For that reason, the method of summoning the 7 stakes of purgatory and how to handle them was written about in great detail in Maria One-chan's grimoire, and, as another person with their name registered in that alliance, I was also permitted to employ them. Which of the 7 sisters is this stake?
The characteristics are written about well in my grimoire. Sisters of the 7 stakes really hate it when you get the names wrong. Remember their names well before summoning them.
A packed page told of the 7 stakes of purgatory. It described the 7 sisters in great detail. Yes, I think I memorized almost this entire page once in the past. The more I read it, the more I start to remember. By the pictures and characteristics written on the grimoire, I could tell that the stake in my hand was Mammon's stake. In the past, I hadn't had any stakes, so I'd summoned them without any vessel. So this was the first time I'd clearly seen any of the 7 stakes, let alone Mammon.
Okay.
Mammon, the 5th sister, controls the deadly sin of greed. An incredible kid.
Greed also controls aspirations, the desire to improve oneself, and the strength to live. It definitely doesn't mean only bad things. She's rude, but she's a girl who tries really hard.
I see. You could say that without desire, there's no reason to live. For a while, I heightened my concentration and digested the information that was written about Mammon. The more the summoner knows about the target that's being summoned, the better. Knowledge is connected to magical power. I began to fill my head with knowledge about Mammon, raising a necessary amount of magical power for a summoning. Grimoires can be a bit interesting. This might be a much better read than some terrible novel. It really takes me back.
For a grimoire, it's demanded not only that you understand the letters, but that you fill up the world of the space between the lines, giving birth to a world from the pictures and creating things in various ways. The power to give birth to something. For someone who has that, such as you, a grimoire should be more interesting than any book. I've always known that you'd be able to understand that.
That should be enough knowledge of Mammon for now.
The power to give birth to something. Interesting. All the witches we met so far have been ladies.
Yeah? I don't know, I didn't take it literally like that.
I don't think that's going to be where it goes either. It just a stray thought that crossed my mind. That. Anyway. Did you read that one?
I did.
Okay.
Yes. I remembered it more or less. I'll give it a try.
Take care. In case the worst happens, here's my talisman. You know you can call me anytime, right? Treaty of the Alliance won't protect you now. That Mammon is a bit of a quick trigger, and she may still bear a grudge. Be careful.
Yes. I'll wear it. The 7 stakes of purgatory, as furniture used to make sacrifices were a ceremony, were treated as beings inferior even to weapons, but that was only when compared to other demons. To humans, furniture is something to be feared. I fished through the knapsack again, took out a bracelet charm with a scorpion medal that I've gotten from Maria One-chan long ago, and put it on my arm. In the past, I hadn't needed something like this. But I need insurance.
It's okay. This is already...
Scorpion charm like the one she gave Battler that one time.
Yeah?
Aww.
It's okay. That has already been fitted with the required amount of magical defense. As long as you wear that, you'll definitely be fine.
Maria One-chan's magic power, which had been specially put into this charm, had been enough to earn even Beatrice's admiration. While it may have looked like something cheap to a human who couldn't understand magic, its magical worth was incalculable. Come, arise, forgive the sin. One of the 7 stakes of purgatory, mammon of greed. I focused my mind. I made the magic-repelling toxin that filled my body 0. Imagine an untainted, vast space. Doubts and common sense all resist magic. Make the resistance 0 and erase the burden on the magical power. Inside my head was the image of a vast space. It was a nighttime world where I floated in the air, and the neon stars over the ground sparkled. A world where the stars that should have covered the sky were wiped away by the light from below that covered the ground. In the world of a vast night sky with no obstructions, I imagined the wind blowing through at will. At that time, in a room where there shouldn't have been any wind, the freed nighttime wind kicked up a cyclone. The long-forgotten sensation raced through my entire body. It was the unique feeling of exaltation that comes from using magic. Mammon's stake, which I held out in my hand, gradually began to make me feel a pale light. A twisting cyclone with the stake at the center. The hefty stake floated a bit into the air.
Wonderful. Looks like the gap in your training hasn't stolen your talent.
Come, arise. Forgive the sin. One of the 7 stakes of purgatory, mammon of greed. Show yourself to me. After I raised my hands bit by bit, lifting them higher than my head, as though it was being attracted upwards, Mammon's stake once again floated up high into the air, and gradually began to shake. That shaking began to grow faster, and it burst. With a speed faster than the eye could follow, it flew around, violently rebounding off the walls of the room. The terrible sound of it dancing around threatened to make me flinch. However, I must not lose my mental concentration. Then the stake, which had been flying around at an incredible speed, finally stopped and faced me. It was in the air, just a few centimeters away from my forehead, and held back by the defensive barrier created by the scorpion charm.
Oh my god.
It had tried to break the defensive barrier, eating into it with an incredible power, but Maria One-chan's barrier wouldn't be broken so easily.
It's no use. I can't break it.
The stake muttered hatefully.
Gah.
It was probably safe to say that the scorpion charm saved me. Without that, my attempt at killing time until I got sleepy would have killed my time for all eternity.
God, got anything to drink around here?
When Mammon's stake realized that it was unable to gouge me, it gave up and grew docile, changing its form from that of a stake into a human. In that same old outfit that I'd never be able to walk around outside in. Although you could say it suited her in a demonic sort of way.
Did we see the new images on the stakes? We did.
We did.
A while ago.
Is that Angie-sama? But that magical power's pretty shabby. Are you really Angie-sama?
It's been a long time, Mammon. Have you been well?
And here I was convinced that furniture that already fulfilled its function just gets left to rust away in a closet. So what kind of sideshow is this? You ain't gonna say that you're my owner, are you? Yes, Angie is your master. Lady Maria, how unsightly of me. Was that barrier just now yours? Yep, it was mine. I thought that as she is now, Angie might just have gotten finished off by you. I was right, you tried to kill her. I lent her a talisman. If Lady Maria says Angie-sama is my master, I cannot refuse. Angie-sama, please, your orders. If it's me you need, you're going to perform a new ceremony. With new sacrifices. Of course, that's only if you're willing to handle me yourself and get your own hands dirty.
That role isn't something I'm asking for anymore. All you have to do is talk with me like you used to.
If that's what you desire. Furniture is furniture because it is used. It is an honor just to be summoned, Angie-sama.
Mammon had a slightly complicated smile on her face. She accepted her new master because Maria had told her to. but it looked like she hadn't gotten over her discontent at working for Angie with her frail magical power. Perhaps she had some other reason for hating Angie, but for now it seemed that she couldn't disobey even if she wasn't happy about it.
So, what should I do?
I don't know, just do something lively, like old times.
Like old times?
Well now, this liveliness you're talking about is probably from when we sisters were all together. It may be difficult by myself. Did you forget? Yeah, that's right. The seven sisters were really lively when they got together. But with Angie's magical power now, I think summoning just Mammon is the best we can hope for. The stakes of the other six have been lost. My apologies, Lady Maria. But maybe it would be possible to summon the seven sisters via my own state. If I'm to be used, I hope Angie-sama has at least that much power, right?
Mammon grinned. Apparently, she wanted me to summon the other sisters without a vessel. I see. Since she's unable to satisfy herself with being summoned alone, she's asking for the other sisters to be summoned as well. I get it, Greed. Yes, she was like this back then, wasn't she? To furniture, the times during which they are used are bliss. No matter how badly they are exploited, being used is furniture's joy. On the contrary, regardless of how nice you are to them, not being given a job is more painful than anything in their eyes.
Really? That doesn't sound right.
Mammon spoke in a challenging way, but she wanted me to summon the other sisters somehow, and rescue them from the world of nothingness. If that's the case, all she's got to do is say so. These demon people can never just say what they mean.
Interesting.
Angie, don't overdo it. You'll need plenty of rehabilitation just from summoning Mammon.
Oh, I'll need to rehabilitate after just one? Well, I'm just killing time anyway. Okay, Mammon, I've gone this far. I'll call as many as I can.
Really? You do that for me? Oh, not bad, Angie-sama, not bad. Okay, quickly.
Apparently, even though she'd asked, Mammon hadn't really expected Angie to do this. She hopped around, badgering Angie to summon the other sisters. Summoning Mammon alone consumed a considerable amount of physical and magical power. It'll probably be pretty tough to do 6 more. I'm awed by the magical power of those who can summon sisters like this at will with a snap of their fingers.
Who's Will and why is he getting sisters summoned at him?
And who therefore reach the level where they can be called witches.
Mammon, don't make Angie overdo it. She still isn't at her best. What? Angie-sama said she summoned everyone.
Actually, I'd only said I'd call as many as I could. I guess that's greed for you.
Don't overdo it, Angie. You should rest for today. You tried enough. You're tired enough.
It's okay. I'm just killing time anyway. Let me get tired enough that I can just fall over asleep. This time there's no vessel. I'll have to strengthen the image from my knowledge of the grimoire, and materialize them with just that. I held my hands out into the air, replaying in my head that sensation from when I'd summoned Mammon. I'm acquainted with all of the 7 sisters, right? I've got to remember that time, long ago, when I talked with them. Once again, the power of magic began to fill me up. It let off a faint and yet distinct pale light from both of my hands.
Angie-sama! Hold on, good luck. Hey, Lady Maria, Angie-sama's definitely gonna summon everyone, right? The 7 sisters will get to be reunited again, right? Yeah, definitely. But there's no guarantee that it'll happen tonight. Angie-sama can do it. Please, Angie-sama, please start with the youngest sister, Asmo.
Asmodeus, the 7th sister. Got it. I'll call them in order, starting from the youngest. A strand of hot sweat dripped down from my forehead. This really is going to be one hell of a burden to carry.
Well, you had to carry that weight.
The pale light in this space began to slowly form into the outline of a girl. Come, arise, one of the 7 stakes of purgatory, Asmodeus of lust. There was no vessel. However, as I held a strong conviction that she definitely did exist there as a core, her form began to crystallize. Her outline became distinct, and the form of the youngest of the 7 sisters, Asmodeus, was finally created.
Finally, I am back. Sorry, I went to go to get smokes a while ago. It took longer than I thought.
12 years or so.
Anyone else itching for I could go for a nap right now. Asmodeus of Lust, right here. Where is this? Am I alive? Asmo! I'm so glad. Mama Nisan, where in the world is this? Who summoned me? Angie-sama did. Angie-sama said she'd revive all of us.
No, I didn't.
Angie-sama, thank you. Do bells next. Please.
Beelzebub, the sixth sister. Beelzebub of gluttony. Come, arise.
Sure does look like she's just doing straight up magic right now.
At this rate, I wonder how many I'll be able to summon.
This is really strange. I don't know what to make of this scene.
If I can't focus, this is probably it. The pale light made an outline and formed into Beelzebub.
I'm back. Beelzebub of Gluttony, right here. Bells! Andrew-sama, you're amazing, incredible.
Mammon and Asmodeus jumped onto Beelzebub, celebrating their reunion. I'd summoned 3 people at once. My head was throbbing. Gotta summon the next one without stopping for a break. Come, arise. One of the 7 stakes, Belphegor of Sloth.
Belphegor of Sloth, right here. To think that I would be needed again. Belphane! I'm hungry! I'm so glad to see you again. Also, that rhymed. To think the 7 sisters would be able to meet again. Angie-sama, thank you so much. Keep it up and do Satan next. And Leviane and Lucine.
Yeah, I get it. So please, try not to be so loud. Doing 4 people at the same time is pretty tough.
Auntie, don't overdo it any more than this. You did a good job summoning even 4 of them after such a long time. Stop it, Mammon. Right now, Angie-sama is being pressured with the burden of summoning us. Angie-sama, I beg that you do not strain yourself too much. No way! Angie-sama promised. She said we'd all play together again.
No,
Right? Angie-sama, you said everyone would meet again. You promised that we could meet again right away.
That's right, I promised. I didn't promise anything about when, but I certainly did promise.
So keep that promise. If you don't, I'll never forgive you for forgetting it until today, Angie-sama.
Forgetting it until today? She made that promise before, huh?
Interesting. Come, arise, one of the 7 stakes of purgatory, Satan of wrath. My mind's getting hazy.
Headache when doing magic. Headache when doing magic. We're picking up on patterns.
Yeah, that's weird.
If nothing else, we are getting some patterns together.
But I'll call. Even though I'd forgotten about those days. Even though I've never thought of that time as anything but sad and lonely. Because the short time I spent with them was fun, without a doubt.
Satan of Wrath, right here. What the hell are you people doing? Don't you realize how much is burning Angie-sama just to let us have an idle chat?
Satan, who had apparently figured out the situation immediately after being summoned, cried out in a loud voice, telling her sisters off. That loud voice made my consciousness hazy again.
We have furniture been granted rest by Beatrice, whose duty has been finished. Not only are you not honored at being given another chance to be of some use, but you're putting a burden on our new master, you disgrace to all furniture. Erase yourselves right away. Yeah, it's like Satan Nice says. I'll erase myself. You all erase yourselves too. In this moment, that's the best way for us to be of use to Angie-sama. No way! Not until everyone's summoned. Same here. I'm hungry. I hate to leave again so soon after being reunited with you all. Don't be so selfish. Come on, erase yourself quickly. This scene's gonna be really fun for people to listen to. Come on, Asmo. Disappear right now. Bah, say your name's bullying me. It's not fair if you always bully the youngest one.
Yes, they really are lively. It doesn't bore me.
That's enough. You've surpassed your limits for now, Angie.
You're right. With 5 of them summoned and messing around as they pleased, the load was far too heavy for me, with the meager magical power I had at that moment. This is it. As my consciousness went hazy, I fell over onto the bed. Have beds always felt this soft? It seemed that the sisters were still squabbling together as much as they liked. For a way to kill time until drowsiness comes to get me, this is enough.
It's like counting sheep, but instead you're counting big-breasted onachans.
Counting demons. Feeling something warm and nostalgic in the sisters' liveliness, I sank into a world of deep sleep. At the entrance to my dream world, I felt Maria One-chan and Sakutaro waiting to receive me.
The dream world being the...
You worked. You worked hard, and you did a good job.
Welcome back, Angie.
Welcome back, huh? Then I should respond like this. I'm home.
Oh, did you miss me? I want a hug. With my big sleeves. They're so big I can't grab anything with them because the sleeves are in the way. Who designed them like that?
I believe that's one of your charm points was...
Oh, I am pretty cute. Took a quick recording break in the middle of this episode, but while we were breaking, you had a theory come up that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I had 2 pieces of info that seemed really interesting. One of them being, we remember the thing from the end of chapter 3 about Beatrice signing her name roughly in katakana.
Right.
And we've seen it come up again and again now, that the witches' names are in katakana.
Yep.
And we've now established that the witches' names have been entered in this grimoire.
Yep.
This mariage sorcière or whatever.
Yep.
That Maria had. Who would have known about Beatrice and the legend and all of that, but not well enough to know how to write Beatrice? Because it's not written in Western letters. It's someone who had heard Beatrice and did their best to write it out.
Right.
Oh. Interesting.
You're not going to answer your own question?
What?
You're not going to answer your own question?
I don't know the answer to my own question.
Maybe Maria herself?
I don't think that's the case, since we established that there was a second hand.
Yes, because there's
in
a
her
different
notebook.
handwriting.
So I think it must have been someone else known to Maria.
Okay.
And then the other interesting thing that's really weirding me out,
Yep.
we've seen the stakes
Yep.
in the previous chapters. So we
Yep.
know they're in the accounts of the murders, in those
Yep.
message in a bottles. But it's also something that's apparently from Maria's childhood playtime that Angie was there for and knew about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's weird that the murders were committed according to a way from Maria's childhood fantasies. But also that the stakes seem to be real physical objects that Angie has found one of.
Yep, because they were there on the island.
Yeah. So
They were in the effects recovered after the...
who would have known about all of that private stuff from their childhood playtime and gone to all that effort to recreate it?
That's a really good question. Because probably not Rosa?
Yeah. Rosa, from her distance with her daughter, probably wouldn't even have known.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like Maria hung out with other people that often.
She
But
had no
clearly was
friends.
talking with someone.
Yeah.
Because that would explain the second hand in her...
And I believe we heard her say before about looking forward to visiting Rokkenjima because she got to talk with Beatrice.
Yes.
So is someone else there? Beatrice.
Pretending to be Beatrice for her.
Yeah. engaging in that playtime and helping with those fantasies, then later going on to do a murder.
A murder which we've been primed to suspect might not have occurred as planned.
Yes.
Interesting. It's definitely something worth keeping in mind. I think you're onto something with it, but I'm not sure where the threads are leading here.
Me neither. Other than it makes me less suspicious of all the adults, including Ava. Because who of them would have known or cared about the private details of Maria's childhood witch fantasies?
So then who would know about that? Maybe any... Like, it is established that she did play with the cousins on occasion.
Yep, she played with the cousins, so...
But the last time she played with Badler was several years ago.
Yeah.
When she was still, like, baby. So,
yeah.
That... Unfortunately, that removes Badler from that one, because... And I doubt she was writing in a book when she was, like, 3. That just... just that kind of eats that up.
It also makes me wonder if someone deliberately committed the murders in a way that would lead Angie specifically to follow up on it, because no one else would have these connections.
So then who was close? I guess then following that line of reasoning, we need to figure out who else was close to Maria.
Indeed.
And unfortunately, as we take the game at face value, that answer appears to be a big fat zilch.
I mean, it appears to be Beatrice.
Yes. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
Me neither.
Strange. Anyway.
That's right. Just once in the past, I underwent training in order to step into the world of witches. I accepted that the only power that could save me from those sad, pitiful days at St. Lucia Academy was the thing called magic, and I received Maria's introduction to the basics.
Is it Lucia or Lucia?
Nah, I don't know.
All right.
Imagine a vast space. The scene from when I looked down at the mountain's base from a rest stop at the peak.
Snail tea.
Like this? I projected that scene from a memory, insert Dream Theater here, into my mental world.
I want to point out that whenever they're using scene from a memory, it's always with the blue background that's been up till now associated with Purgatorio.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that that's just something that Angie is doing in her head to run through various scenarios.
Which would make sense if we're running on the theory that magic is imagination, visualization, perhaps delusion.
Yep. And it's just like a way of working with that. And it's not inconsistent with the first 2 records being based on the accounts that were in the bottles. Naturally, that'd be the first 2 things that she checked. Like, because someone wrote these... You've got a brain gasm going on over there. Magic
is cope. Magic is cope. All of the witches are coping, and some of them are coping horribly, like Ava killing everybody. And some of them are coping with horrible things kind of all right, like Maria. Magic is just cope.
So this brings it back to the initial thing that you had thought about, where magic was related to abuse somehow.
Yeah.
And instead of magic being that of abusers, magic being something that those who are abused use to cope.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not they do that by taking it on themselves or becoming an abuser in the process. Like Ava. That's interesting. Magic as a way of coping. It does seem a little on the nose.
Yeah?
Like, it fits way too well with, like, oh, it's just about... With the theory that, oh, they're just imagining all this stuff.
So that means it'll be false, because it fits well.
Yeah, that's my only hesitation for it, is that it fits so well that I'm like... It feels like that's the baseline theory that they'll then subvert, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it fits really well, so I think it's worth keeping in mind. Because I think that might be onto something.
Normal girls get over their fascination with magical girls when they leave elementary school.
Really? All the girls I know got fascinated with magical girls when they were, like, in their late teens, early 20s. Sure, there's no connection there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the possible connection between that could be.
So seriously, training to use magic at this age was embarrassing, even for me. But even that embarrassed feeling felt pleasant to me now. Right then, I was learning mental concentration from Maria One-chan in order to use magic. But it wasn't going very well. It was about as hopeless as teaching a person to wiggle their ears by showing them. It seems that you need to imagine a vast space to gain the mental concentration for using magic. So I remembered the time from my younger days when my family had gone on a small vacation. When I had looked down towards the base from a viewing platform at a rest stop on a peak. And I tried painting this scene in my mental world.
Nope, far too small.
You're right, she's not ooh-wooing when Sakutaro isn't. I'm convinced that you're onto something. You're really good at picking up on this shit. Like, I want to give credit where it's due here. You've been doing all of the heavy lifting on the theorizing this time around. You've been really putting some stuff together.
Maybe I have what it takes to become a witch.
Maybe. If you do so, let me know.
Imagine a much wider space and create your own mental world. Your image is still way too foggy. There's no temperature in the air, there's no wind, no smells either. The world is still very faint. You can't leave those for later, so for now imagine an even wider space.
Oh, why do you have to imagine a vast space?
That voice still doesn't sound appropriate for you in your new form.
I know, but we're sticking with it.
From the time of their birth, humans have inside of them a toxin that blocks magic. If that toxin isn't purified, you can't use magic well. One effective method of achieving this is to imagine a vast space.
Just now, I thought of the world as seen from the window of an airplane, but that didn't work. I can't even think of a world more vast than that.
In that case, Maria just has to teach Angie about the vast world Maria has. Will that make it easy for Angie to imagine as well? Ooh.
That's right, and I'm interested in the kind of world One-chan imagines when she uses magic. I'll use it for reference.
Ah, that sounds real cool.
No, she does.
There's
Okay.
a counterexample.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe it is just a verbal tick. I thought for sure you were onto something there.
Who knows?
But if she's doing it with Sakutaro there still, then it seems to be a counterexample to that theory.
The mental world must be vast and isolated. A world with no obstructions other than yourself. So if you teach someone about that world, it won't be isolated anymore. That's why you mustn't reveal your mental world to anyone. And if you draw up a good mental world, you must too keep it as a secret only for yourself.
This is so stingy, Maria.
Thanks, Sakutaro. I guess there are no shortcuts in training.
I'm just a big worry. I look worried all the time.
I'll make an effort. It's okay, I've been given plenty of hints.
Do your best, Angie. We'll be rooting for you.
Until recently, I thought there was no way something like magic could save me. After all, magic doesn't exist in this world. That kind of thing's supposedly nothing more than an illusion, a delusion, a daydream. However, Maria One-chan showed me that she could fill her own world with happiness, using a power that's impossible for me. I used to look down on that happiness as something empty, because I didn't believe in magic. I also denied everything else, refusing to believe in the happiness that magic gave birth to. But slowly, bit by bit, Maria One-chan's world grew happier. In the past, I disparaged it, thinking it too pitiful to look at. But that might have been nothing more than jealousy. I was forced to admit that. And now, this was my first step in my search for happiness.
Are we gonna have to put this entire game into the depression playlist?
It's likely. A vast space, a dry wind that could blow without being blocked by anything. Let me feel that wind blowing through my own hair. I see, even the ground might get in my way as I am now. Then I don't need a ground. Brush the ground away, downwards, downwards. In other words, it was as though I had floated up, leaving the ground far behind. After pushing the ground further and further downwards, the ground grew foggy and faint, and for the first time, it began to feel like the sky. Then I understood its vastness. In that instant, I felt the vivid wind go right through even my body. In other words, blowing through me without any resistance.
Yes, maintain that sensation.
Yeah, I get it. I get that I'd been released from all hindrances.
Release! Sorry, it's a habit.
Is her thing modeled after Cardcaptor Sakura's?
I hope so.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, that and Sakutaro is oh shit. Oh, what's the little sidekick?
I forgot its name.
It's a little tiny lion-looking dude.
It is.
Oh my god. Is Sakutaro modeled that? Oh, what I forget what his name is. The little lion-looking guy though. Oh my god. Is Sakutaro modeled after him too? That would be too fucking cute. Hold on.
Too cute by half.
Too cute by half. You did it, Angie. You did it. That's pretty impressive. You've taken your first step into this world of witches.
This is the world of witches?
Yep, so let's try fighting that magic you've always wished for, Angie. Magic that'll summon friends. A magic that'll create allies who will save you from your loneliness and therefore bring you happiness.
Will Angie also be able to summon friends like me?
As he is now, it's still far too early for Angie to summon friends like Sakutaro from the Sea of Zero. To begin, let's start by practicing with friends that are easy to summon.
Oh, look at her in her school outfit again.
What will we start with?
Because you're a witch of Maria Sorcière. I can pronounce it, I swear I can. You are also permitted to use those employed by other witches in the Alliance. For example, Sakutaro is my friend, but since you're in the same alliance, he's your friend too, and you can summon him. You want to try summoning Sakutaro one of these
You know what this is reminding me of? And I don't know if this is... If we're connecting magic back to as a way of coping with abuse. This is reminding me a lot of the Magic Alliance is reminding me a lot of the concept of like whisper networks. Of where you're like a bunch of people will know of someone as a person to be avoided in a community. But for whatever reason, that's not made public because, let's face it, men have way more power. That might just be an off thought, but it's something that's thematically seeming similar to me.
When you're so lonely, it gets tough. I'm sure Sakutaro will cheer you up.
I see. You could call Sakutaro a being employed by One-chan.
Karo-chan.
Yes.
Karo.
So as a witch in the same alliance as her, it's possible for me to summon Sakutaro too. I met Sakutaro's gaze.
Who is just so happy to be here.
How pleasant it would be to have him just be there by my pillow, so he could talk to me a bit on lonely nights.
I'm great at conversation, actually.
If I call out, will you appear and talk to me?
Oh, I can't wait to be summoned by you, Angie. Ooh.
Looking happy, Sakutaro pressed his head against me like a cat.
Oh, cute.
Suddenly getting a cute younger brother felt a bit confusing, a bit embarrassing, and a bit nice. Unable to understand why I couldn't honestly accept this feeling, I felt tears well up in my eyes. Right. I'll give it all I've got, One-chan.
Then let's practice. Let's try summoning the furniture of Beatrice, a witch from the same alliance.
Beatrice's furniture. Hearing Beatrice's name gave me a slightly strange feeling. When it came to the crime on Rokkenjima, the public kept on going on in a frenzy about how it was a sacrifice ceremony performed by a witch. And that witch was Beatrice. So if the witch did commit that crime, that would make her the culprit who stole my family from me. However, Maria One-chan said that Beatrice was a good witch. If I held negative emotions towards Beatrice, she'd get mad, leading to a nasty fight, and refuse to talk for a while.
Yeah, that checks out.
At this moment, One-chan was my only close friend, so to avoid worsening her mood, I'd decided to think of Beatrice as nothing more than One-chan's magic teacher.
Oh, there we go.
Also, I believe that the crime was a conspiracy cooked up by Aunt Ava. I would definitely expose the truth about that someday.
Andy, obstructions are entering your body again.
Sorry, I lost my concentration. One more time. I'd expect no less from you, One-chan. You instantly noticed that I was being overcome with idle thoughts. After shaking my head just once, I reimagined the wind blowing through a vast space. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory? That's a pretty creepy name.
But they're very energetic and fun kids. They might become your new friends, Angie. First, I'll show you how to summon them. Watch.
Maria One-chan lifted both hands up to the level of her head and quietly unified her mind.
We need.
The state I wasn't able to reach except by meditating for a long period of time, she reached in the span of a few quick breaths. Then a pale light began to gather in her palms, and one by one the girls began to show themselves. 1, 2, 3 people, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. The way they were summoned one after another in a line was a masterpiece.
I guess this also explains why the stakes were mostly used in the first two accounts,
Yeah.
and very little in the third account. Because the first two accounts were written by someone purporting to be Maria, who would has written in Maria's personal diary, and is therefore would know about the stakes. The stakes could not be higher.
Ha ha!
Literally.
Incredible. Just like the illustrations in One-chan's grimoire, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. The younger sisters were behind the eldest, Lucifer, who saluted One-chan.
The Seven Sisters of Purgatory, right here. Lady Maria, it has been quite some time. Yeah, long time no see. Is everyone doing well? We furniture are what we are because we are used. To us, being summoned after so long is truly an honor. Yeah, Sakutaro! It's been so long. You look so fluffy. You look as you look as cute as ever. Me first. Yeah, today he's so fluffy and squishy and cute. Ah, let me hug him too.
Can't breathe. I won't run away, so let go of me, everyone. Oh.
Hey, you all. You're trying to break Lady Maria's furniture. Anyway, get.
This is the first time we've seen someone explicitly talk about Sakutaro as furniture.
Indeed.
Which makes me think it's a more general term for someone that has been summoned.
And yet also, that is used not in the fantasy by the servant as a term for the servants of the Ushiromiya household.
Was it used in chapter 3 or 4? We haven't heard the term this chapter yet. Did we hear the term last chapter?
Probably, but I don't know that for sure.
Because now that we know the context for the first two chapters, it seems that, like, if it was used in that context, we can assume someone might have added it in as, like, their own way of thinking about it.
So here's something.
Yeah.
Here's something.
Hit me.
Someone who might have been around, on Rokkenjima specifically, to play the role of Beatrice in Maria's childhood play. It could make sense if it were a servant who had been there.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have the knowledge to plan a crime at the family conference long in advance, since they'd have all the intimate internal details and be involved in planning it. And they would have the sort of mimetic software about furniture and all of that. They've been led to believe that they are just furniture for the Ushiromiya family. And in turn, if they were thinking of a world like this, they might bring up the idea of witches having furniture that serves them. Like, it seems odd that it's another thing like the stakes that is both in the world outside the fantasy and in it, with the same significance. So what if a servant is involved? Anyway, go to Triss.
Oh, I bet you all can't wait for me. Is it my turn to be Beato yet?
Although that one doesn't make sense, because we know he's new.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And then he hasn't fully bought into it. Unless, well, no, him being new. I could see him obfuscating knowledge. But being very new on the island is kind of puts a dent in that theory.
And we've also established that Virgilia was sleeping inside Kumasawa,
Yep.
who is one of the servants. So it would be plausible if some of these things that we are seeing as fantasies of
Genji.
witches and so on were things that actually occurred.
It's Genji. It's Genji.
I don't know. I think Genji is Ronabe.
Genji's
It's right in the name.
Yeah.
It's right in the name.
What do you mean it's right in the name?
Because we had him in the credits as Ronabe Genji.
Right.
And then
Right. Yes,
there was even all that stuff in, I don't know if it was 2 or 3, about how Genji had been crafted in the image of Ronabe and
yeah.
so on. And
Okay, yep. So then who does that leave? Kinzo himself?
no, I don't know. Who would plausibly be there with Kumasawa talking to Maria when Maria was flitting about Rokkenjima having fantasy playtime?
Shannon?
Shannon or Cannon? They'd be young enough
Natsuki?
to be a fellow kid.
I guess. Jessica?
Oh. That feels too on the nose, though, because she's got the golden hair and everything.
Didn't we say at one point that if there was to be a stand-in for Beato, it would have to be Jessica?
Yeah. Huh.
Maybe? I feel like we're getting way off course
We are.
here, but
We are.
still, like, there's enough to this game where I feel like it's worth throwing out whatever we come up with, just in case, because I don't think this is one where I'm going to figure out by putting the pieces together. I think this is one where we're going to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, and then some stuff will coalesce.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. I tried to bake Lady Maria's furniture. Anyway, get away from him. Hugging is prohibited. Even though you're saying that, it looks like you want to hug him the most, Satane. Giggle. I don't know how to giggle, so I just say the word aloud. Ah. It's not like I have any interest in something so fluffy, squishy, and cuddly, baka. Hey, be silent in the presence of Lady Maria and Angie-sama, you foolish sisters. It's weird how they all have the same face and body, but different haircuts. And that's
And the same voice.
I mean, oh, they have a little bit more varied faces, but again, it's just the hair. Yeah, and the same voice. I mean, I'm not gonna memorize. I can barely tell them apart right now. Like, I'm okay giving them the hive mind voice.
They're all Valley girls for some reason.
It's the first one. It wasn't used, and I honestly didn't expect them to stick around this long.
And now they're main characters.
And now they're main characters. Fuck me, am I right?
Just like Sakutaro. All the ones you think it's gonna be a one-off. Nope.
Well, at least I can keep their voices straight in my head. All the ones I gave very boring voices to because I thought, oh, this will be a character who's around a lot. Like, no. Fuck me, am I right?
They were so energetic. I was shocked by their sudden burst of activity right after they appeared. And on top of that, I was surprised that the innocent Sakutaro was on such good terms with the Seven Sisters.
Oh, I have friends in lots of unexpected places. Just go, whenever you're walking around town, just tell them you know the big sack. Somebody called me that, and I don't know what it means.
That's unexpected. To think that Sakutaro would be so loved by such shady people.
Hey, we're not shady. Well, okay, we're a little bit shady. They're fellow members of the same alliance. There's nothing to be scared of, right?
But on the off chance that their mood worsens, it looks like they could finish Sakutaro off in an instant.
It's alright. The witches of the Alliance and their furniture are all friends. So Sakutaro can play without worrying. Of course that goes for you and me too, Andy.
It was one of the pacts of Mariage Sorcière. Mutual non-aggression and non-interference. Member witches must respect each other's magic and creations.
They must say yes and not no but.
Even the sisters, who were normally shady and belligerent, treated fellow Alliance members as friends. So, to the Seven Sisters, Sakutaro was a mutual friend.
I'm such a great guy to have around. I'm so happy. Can someone get me an outfit with shorter sleeves so I can grasp things with my hands?
Does he have hands?
It's unclear.
It could be just little paws under there.
They're just little fleshy appendages with no real definition at the end of them.
He was loved by all of them, and they were even trying to steal him away from each other.
Oh, this is great.
This scene as they squeezed him and loved him was a bit charming. I see. They're fellow members of Mariage Sorcière, after all. At a glance, you'd think that Sakutaro's casual atmosphere and the Seven Sisters' shady one would be like water and oil. It looked like they definitely wouldn't be compatible. And yet, they were interacting in a friendly way, like it was completely natural. If this wonderful alliance could join all the peoples of the world together, I wonder if everyone in the world would be able to become friends right away.
Probably not. I'm actually pretty hard to get along with. I'm told I have a grating personality.
All you Seven Sisters, listen, right now Andy is in the middle of magic training, so I want everyone to lend their power. Certainly, Lady Maria. But what specifically? The magical power materializing you will move from me to Andy. In that state, I want you to be by her side all the time. You just have to talk with her. My apologies, but I wonder if Angie-sama's magical power will be able to easily summon all 7 of us around the clock.
The oldest sister, Lucifer, gazed at my complexion as she advised this, speaking reservedly. In other words, she was saying that the burden might be heavy for me at this point in time.
That's the kind of training it is. Angie has more talent at magic than everyone imagines. It'll be pretty tough, but I think it's worth it for Angie to take this challenge as she is now. Angie, starting now, I'll move the magic power materializing them over to you. In other words, it'll become as though you had summoned them.
So what Maria One-chan was trying to say was something like this. To keep the Seven Sisters materialized, you are continuously burdened with a significant amount of magical power. Maybe you could say it was like training while wearing a weighted wristband.
Oh, doing all the 7 Sisters would be pretty tough. Isn't that asking a lot of Angie all of a sudden?
Thank you, Sakutaro. But this is a training to become a witch. I want to see how far I can go. The 7 of them certainly do seem boisterous. But even if this is for training, having them with me will surely distract me from my loneliness, at least a little. I understood it would be an ordeal, but wanted to give it a shot.
Don't overdo it if it gets tough, okay? And everyone, if it looks tough for Angie, take it easy. Certainly. Get it, everyone? Yes, One-sama.
She just playing with a bunch of alls she found and like... Her mom went out one day, so she just went to a carpentry store, bought a bunch of alls, and came back with them, and she was like, these are my friends now. Well then, Angie-sama, from now we are the 7 Sisters of Purgatory. We'll become your furniture. Lady Maria, if you would. I once went a bitch named Maria. No? Alright. Yeah, so Angie, can we start?
Sure. I'm a little nervous.
Wait, if this is a flashback, why does she have her new outfit?
I know, right? Pretty weird.
It's strange. Okay. This might be tough all of a sudden. If you feel like you're getting a headache, lower your magic power immediately. Again, directly connecting it.
Okay, I'll move the source of the magic power over to Angie.
You called it.
I think that's actually you.
In an instant, the inside of my head felt very heavy. It's tough. Until then, the inside of my head had only been used for myself. It was almost like it was now being used for 7 other people. If they just stood there and blinked once, or let out a single sigh, that would put a strong pressure on my head.
Lady Maria, my apologies, but perhaps the burden from all 7 sisters at once might be too great after all.
I'm okay.
No, it won't work after all. You're using all of your energy to materialize them. There's no point if the burden is such that you can't balance it with your everyday life. Anyway, this is a bit unrefined for a witch.
That's why I said doing so many suddenly wasn't possible. Everyone erase yourselves for a bit. Right. Seems to be better to lower the number of people. Asmo, erase yourself. Me again? I'm opposed to youngest sister bullying. Cry face. Aww. Disappear starting from the top every once in a while. I mean, I have to disappear second, right? No. Don't make a ruckus, Asmo and Levi Nay. That kind of disturbance will become a burden to Angie-sama. The noise you're making is also a burden, stupid Satan.
The seven sisters started arguing over who should erase themselves first. The energy from that fight all became a burden, forcing Angie to bear an even greater headache. In the end, they decided the order with rock, paper, scissors, and 1, 2, 3 of them disappear.
Wait, if the headache is associated with the one who's creating the image of that person, does that mean, like, Natsuhi, when she was having the headaches earlier, was the one... What?
Which is interesting, since we had established in that same arc that it seemed like Natsuhi had absolutely no aptitude for that, according to Beatrice. Weird.
Huh. Okay.
But even at that level, Angie was still far from comfortable. In the end, once 6 of them had erased themselves, I was finally able to calm my breathing. With my magical power, forget the 7 sisters, just one person is my limit.
This way it's not the 7 sisters, but just me, right? You're a bit unreliable, Angie-sama.
Mammon, who had won all of the rock, paper, scissors matches and was permitted to remain until the end, grumbled.
Mammon, you shouldn't say things like that. Angie is still just starting her training. Are you alright, Angie? Oh, is your headache okay?
Sakutaro stretched up on his tiptoes, trying to pat Angie's head with his weird giant sleeves.
Oh, it's okay. I'm really comfy.
Watching this, Maria scratched her head, acknowledging that this sudden training had been too difficult.
Ew, maybe that was a little too much. I'd be perfectly fine with this much, though. The more friends you have, the more fun it is.
Now I'm even more aware of how incredible you are, One-chan. Apparently, when one reaches Maria One-chan's class, one can summon enough people to perform in an orchestra.
Yeah, I did that once.
Little ceramic orchestra.
Oh, yeah, oh, wait. Oh, where do those fit in? The little animals and stuff, where do those fit in?
I don't know. For a witch apprentice, that's awe-inspiring.
Are you okay, Angie-sama?
Buster Wolf. I'm sorry, it looks like summoning you is the most I can do.
Well, I guess I'm okay with that. After all, of all the 7 sisters, I get Angie-sama all to myself. What do you think, Angie-sama? If it's just me, will it be a burden for you?
No, I think I'll be able to manage you alone somehow.
Awesome! Do you want to play Mario Kart? Then please train a lot and cultivate your magic power a bunch. Then someday for sure, please bring the 7 sisters together and let us serve you. Promise?
After confirming that, for the time being, her own materialization wasn't causing any issues, Mammon immediately became cheery again and tried to make me promise to work harder. I see, that definitely fits with her being greedy. But maybe you could also call it having a positive attitude. Yes, I promise. I have to be able to do at least that much someday.
Thank you, Angie-sama. I'm Emma of Greed. Will surely serve you until that day.
My headache finally abated, and I relaxed both hands, which had been clutching at my head. Then Mammon stuck out her hand, helping me stand back up.
Oh, Maria, Angie, it's about that time. If we don't return to the room, you'll be scolded. I got places to be. I've got, like, appointments.
Huh? Oh. I hadn't expected Sakutaro to talk about the time. I was brought back into reality. Boom, there goes gravity.
You too, huh?
As though the light had disappeared, the vast world sunk into darkness, and I was in a tiny, tiny bathroom stall, sitting on a toilet. One-chan's grimoire was open on my lap. I looked at the clock. It was almost 20 o'clock, time for lights out. If I show up late for the roll call before lights out, not only will things get pretty annoying, but it'll cause trouble for my roommates and floor mates. I couldn't care less about causing them trouble, but I don't want them messing with me later. My free time by myself is already over for today. I'll sleep, wake up, tomorrow will begin, and another long, long, gray-colored day will repeat again. I closed the grimoire and rose from the toilet seat. At that time, One-chan appeared again and spoke.
Hey, Andy. Andy, I'm not touching you. Andy, Andy, I'm not touching you. Still not touching you.
She really does have the personality for a witch.
Gay. You're forgetting your training. Take Mammon with you.
I'd forgotten. The moment I'd returned to reality, Mammon's materialization had stopped. One more time, I created a strong image of the existence of Mammon in my mind.
You're so mean, Angie-sama. Why'd you erase me so suddenly? At this rate, you won't be able to call all 7 sisters easily.
I'm sorry. I got careless.
It's been incredibly long since I materialized in the human world, so I'm interested in absolutely everything. I'm getting a bit excited. Where is this? Oh, you're in a bathroom stall. Need some time alone? Just kind of standing there staring at her.
No, this is where I go to hang out with all my friends.
With a... Oh...
The St. Lucia Academy Dormitory. This is a stall in the shared bathroom. Each room has its own bathroom, so no one comes here. It's quiet and perfect for reading books.
So in this dorm you have to hide in a toilet stall even to read a book? Do they burn books or something?
I have a 2-person room, so my roommate is always there. Our relationship is gloomy, and it feels like I'm always getting ignored. The atmosphere is bad, so I really can't relax there. And as long as I'm not there, she can do what she likes, call her friends over and chat away. It's more convenient for them too, if I don't return until just before lights out. There's also a library, but there's a group that uses it as a meeting place, and they're always talking behind my back. So I don't like to go there. During lunch, it's the bushes behind the school building. During the night, it's the stall in the shared bathroom in the dorms. Those are the only hideaways where I can find peace. I opened the door to the stall and went out. I turned around, signaling with my eyes for Mammon to come with me.
I don't really get it, but I realize it'd be hard to call this place pleasant for you, Angie-sama. Let's go out quickly. I hate the air here. It smells like someone took a poo.
Yes, that is also done here. Really? I think the air here is the most decent. When I left the bathroom and entered the corridor, because it was near lights out time, several kids who had gone to play in other rooms were dashing back to their own. When it came time for lights out, we had to change into uniform pajamas that we hated and called prison clothes, line up in the hallway, and go through the dorm leader's roll call. On the off chance that someone was late, we would take collective responsibility and all of the floor mates would have to undergo punishment in the form of volunteer work. As long as I avoided this, the girls would look at me coldly, but they wouldn't get in my way. That alone was enough for me. Mammon looked at the passing kids and the furnishings of the dorm with interest. Without paying her any particular attention, I hurried back to my room.
Is the crest that Mammon has on her arm the same as the crest on Angie's school outfit?
Oh my god, is it? In front of my room was my roommate, who had already changed into her prison clothes, chatting with some kids from the room next door. When they noticed me hurrying back, the topic of their conversation noticeably changed. They lowered their voices, stealing glances at me. I acted like I didn't notice, went into my room and changed. Then I hastily went out into the corridor. Everyone was already lined up.
Hold on, which image did they give for Angie in the... Not her school outfit. Okay, that's not helpful.
Oh, we need to pay attention next time it comes up. Or go back after this video.
Hey, this is weird. I thought this was a school for rich girls. It's like a prison. It's stupid.
You think so too?
Really or worried, Mammon face?
Ha!
Ah!
Ah!
Ah! Ah! Ah!
That's what I think. And unlike prison, you don't get out early for good behavior. After bad-mouthing the place, I noticed something. Having someone to listen to your complaints feels surprisingly good. Fortunately, Mammon's form can only be seen by her summoner, me. And of course, there was no need to speak out loud for this conversation. All I had to do was speak inside my mind so no one could listen in. Magic, and the friends it creates, might actually not be so bad.
All these people are sheltered brats. Feels like they aren't even alive.
Stop it. If you're seen by some chance, it'll be pretty bad, right?
Humans without a fragment of hopes or dreams are like a lump of anti-magic. There's no way they'll be able to see me. You lower life forms can't even see.
Are you okay being around so many humans with that magic-resisting toxin?
I'm fine as long as you continue to make me materialize, Angie-sama. Although since you'll probably have to keep concentrating to materialize me, there's a chance you'll neglect your daily life. Look, the girl you're sharing a room with is calling you, right?
Huh? Oh.
Ushiromiya-san, are you listening? About our weekly duties starting next week.
She's probably trying to push a few more chores onto me. My roommate, who never even looked me in the eye normally, was smiling at me unpleasantly. But it'll be easier to have the weekly duty pushed onto me alone rather than doing it together with her. That's a small price to pay to have her continue to ignore me non-stop. Even so, with a completely shameless excuse, she sidestepped the issue for some reason and insisted on flipping the situation around, as though I should have come forward and done it of my own initiative. One of the special traits of this academy is that it's full of girls who don't know how to ask a favor.
That kid, she pisses me off. I'd love to just gouge her right in the forehead.
Yeah,
We haven't seen Angie's sleeping outfit.
we haven't. I hope you do one of these days.
One of these days, I'm gonna cut her into little pieces.
Yeah, having a friend nearby all the time to complain to makes me happier than I thought it would. It really was lively with all the 7 sisters gathered together. I'm sure just watching them mess around will be a lot of fun. I want to gain enough magical power to summon all the 7 sisters at once, and soon. So I'll train much, much more, and finally summon the thing I really want to find.
What is it you really want to summon, Angie-sama?
Mammon noticed my conversation with myself inside my head, and asked about it blankly. I hesitated to talk about it, but then figured that there was no reason to hide it and told her. My family. Dad, Mom, Oni-chan.
So you mean the souls of the dead? Calling a resident of another world is summoning, but calling back the souls of the dead is called resurrection. And they're completely different. Resurrection is supposed to be a very high-level magic.
I know. So much so that even Maria One-chan can't do it at all.
Really? But you've got Maria's soul here,
Interesting,
and she's
huh?
supposedly dead.
Yeah. Well, Maria's dead, but perhaps not Maria the witch.
Yeah, okay.
But that's the thing I want to find with magic the most. I've been warned that it's a very difficult, high-level magic. So great that in the worst case, I might not necessarily reach that point, even after training for my whole life. Furthermore, I have no vessel. A vessel is vital for making magic succeed, whether it's summoning or resurrection.
Really?
Because I don't have that, a magic that would already have been so difficult is now hopeless. That's right. I have nothing to remember Dad or Mom by. However, by an extraordinary coincidence, I do have something to remember just Oni-chan by. And that's this.
What is it?
That hair accessory with the pink jewel. What the hell? I hate to say it, but it looks a little cheap for you, Angie-sama.
Long ago, without telling Dad, I went with Mom to meet Oni-chan, and we went to play at an amusement park. This is a prize from the crane game there. I know it's cheap, I realize that it doesn't match my style, and I get that it's too childish. But this hair accessory is the only thing that makes me feel as though Battler Oni-chan is by my side.
Gay! Gay! Homosexual! Gay!
Sometimes I can still hear his voice.
We're gonna do that gag every time, aren't we?
The glass case had been filled with plastic capsules packed with fun-looking things. It seemed that each capsule had some cute accessory in it. The game was to grab those with the crane, but I was young and it was too hard for me. I tried it several times, but I didn't even get close. Mom said that whatever was inside was probably cheap anyway, and we didn't even know what we'd get. So there was no point in getting all upset over it.
It's really not worth getting upset over.
Sometimes I can still hear her voice.
Gay. Gay.
But whether it was something cheap or not wasn't the problem.
Homosexual. Gay.
But whether it was something cheap or not wasn't the problem.
I couldn't keep it straight. I couldn't keep it straight. Got him. Got him.
The process of grabbing happiness with my own hands felt really important and sacred to me. So I wanted the cheap thing inside more than anything. Then, Battler Oni-chan came over after finishing a game of shooting soldiers with a gun. And tried to do it for me.
We also don't get a portrait of Tiny, Angie.
We don't. With his arms that were longer than mine, Oni-chan grasped the happiness that I couldn't reach. Oni-chan really was coordinated. It seems he often played with his friends at the arcades.
Really good at gun games, huh?
After only 1 or 2 attempts, he grasped that thing on the other side of the glass with the crane that I hadn't even been able to touch, and threw it into the exit chute.
Stay in school, kids!
When Oni-chan tossed me that capsule, I remember that he looked very, very reliable. For several days, I felt like opening a capsule would be a waste. Then one day, I finally opened it up. And what revealed itself inside was this pink jeweled hair accessory. Since that day, it's been a symbol for Oni-chan. Since I was young, I felt that having all 4 of us gathered, including Battler Oni-chan, was a precondition for a happy family. So I wanted Oni-chan and Dad to make up quickly. In my own way, I'd treated this hair accessory as a charm for bringing my whole family together. So I always used to wear it. I wanted to feel my reliable, fun, and wonderful Oni-chan by my side all the time. And let him live in our house. But my memories of Oni-chan are very distant. I can't do it as easily as Maria One-chan created Sakutaro from a lion stuffed animal. One day, I'll surely possess the high-level magic to revive the souls of the dead. And the only key, the only vessel that can make that successful, is this.
I see. I did feel an incredible magical power from that hair accessory. But that's what it was.
Magical power? There's magical power in this thing Oni-chan gave me?
Maybe I should say that it resides in you, Angie-sama. Your strong desire to call your brother gives you magical power. Resurrection certainly is a high-level magic, but there can be no mistake that you're steadily and unconsciously climbing the stairs toward it.
I'm glad. It's nice to hear someone other than myself acknowledge that. Your own effort isn't something that you can observe by yourself. In that sense, even though these words came from a shady demon girl who controls one of the 7 deadly sins, they made me very happy.
Well, I can't guarantee that you'll obtain the resurrection magic before your life is over. However, the power as a witch is proportional to the height of the mountain you dare to climb. If you don't lose heart, I'm sure you'll rival even our former master, Beatrice, as a great witch someday.
I wonder if I can. I wonder if I can become a great witch and revive Oni-chan. No, my family.
The Witch of Resurrection, Lady Angie. Yeah, wonderful. A Witch of Resurrection is a very rare kind of witch. All the witches are very rare kind of witch. Turns out there's not a lot of witches. Having a master like that would make me very proud. Actually, I'd love for that to happen. Because furniture's worth is also proportional to the class of its master. It's like an S-class. 6 stars. Please pass Beatrice-sama up and become a peerless great witch. As a representative of the 7 sisters of purgatory, I'll support you from the bottom of my heart, as long as those Keister sisters don't get involved. Don't worry about them.
I thought that if a magical friend were to appear for me too, a cute kid like Sakutaro would be best. But even this fifth sister of the Shady Seven Sisters, who controlled the 7 deadly sins, was enough to calm my heart so much all by herself. Maria One-chan has probably known that since long ago. That's why she recommended the World of Witches to me over and over and over again. And I kept on stubbornly rejecting her. I should have given in and started my training as a witch sooner. A year for a child is worth 10 years for an old person, right? Now I find my past self, which only ever complained, deplorable for wasting my precious time.
Haha!
Long after I turned off the lights and slipped into bed, Mammon continued to talk to me alongside my pillow.
Gay. Okay, 3 times. Now it's over. The rule of 3, it's done now.
Yep.
Huh?
I promise. One day for sure, I'll develop a magical power that can summon the 7 sisters. And I'll let them have a lively and fun time. The 7 of them make a single whole. None can be left out. Family must be together. I must bring them together.
Family must be together. I must bring them together.
My awareness began to return slowly. Unable to stand watching Aunt Rosa and Maria One-chan's relationship, I ran away from Beato's and Oni-chan's game, didn't I? I've got to go back. I've got to go back, support Oni-chan, and quickly bring him back from this strange world of the witch's game. After all, as long as I'm here, I'm not allowed to call myself Angie. At that time, I felt someone's presence. When I turned around, I could see Mammon there.
Gretel-sama. Beatrice-sama said that if you do not return soon, it will become a hindrance to the progression of the game. I beg that you return swiftly.
Thank you. I'll go back now.
Isn't it great
What is?
that you were able to meet Battler Oni-chan?
Is that sarcasm?
Well, if that's how it sounds, feel free to call it that.
I'm sorry. You just always sound sarcastic.
I know. I mean, part of it, I get that part of it's just how the way I talk, but also, you've known me long enough. I feel like we should be able to understand each other by now.
I'm sorry, I should have taken it literally. Yeah, you're right. Even in this screwed up world, being able to meet Oni-chan makes me happy from the bottom of my heart.
And you'll win against Beatrice for your Oni-chan's sake.
Yes. Can't have him playing around in a world like this forever. It's about time for him to return home. That's why I came to call him.
Please do the best you can, although I can't support you since my current master is Beatrice-sama.
I know. Until October 5th, 1986, you are Beatrice's furniture, and eventually you'll become my friend.
But eventually you'll throw that friend away. After all, yeah.
Mammon moaned as if she'd bit her tongue, staggering as she clutched her chest. Apparently, the rules apply to people other than me as well. Are you okay? It's pretty painful.
Excuse me, Gretel-sama.
No, thank you.
Ah.
I'm glad. Glad I was able to meet Oni-chan. That's my answer to your first question. Well, let's go back. If I grumble too much, you'll get in trouble with your current master.
Yeah, I'm glad you understand. Well then,
Mammon? Huh? I'm sure Mammon was about to say, well then, this way.
See, the fact that they know each other implies that this isn't actually... Like, this is not actually taking place back then. This is taking place in 1998. In a version of that earlier time that she has created.
But then she stopped, as though the film had been torn off at that point.
Oh, also, yeah, what the fuck's going on here?
It looked like she'd suddenly frozen. Then I noticed. She wasn't the only thing that had frozen. Even the air and floating bits of dust had frozen in place in empty space. A world where it seemed even time had frozen. Yes. This looks like a portent that Burncastle will appear. But the atmosphere was different somehow. I couldn't smell the usual bong cloud. Then I understood.
Listen, it doesn't follow me everywhere. I've smelled myself and you're exaggerating, okay?
It wasn't Burncastle. It was the other witch.
How are you feeling, Ange?
Wait, who was Lambda Delta?
You were originally, and then we swapped and it was me, but then you did some, and I don't know.
Do we know what voice we gave her?
That kind of voice.
How you doing, Angie?
Lambda Delta. The rules don't apply to you, do they?
Of course not. Rules exist to bind others. What kind of idiot would bind themselves with them?
Burncastle is a witch who supports me, but this girl is different.
This girl is just trying to get Bernie to stay here forever.
This witch supports Beatrice. In other words, she's a being on the opposing side.
And Mammoth's in the background still like, hey.
But there's some kind of difference between her and Beatrice. Even compared to Burncastle, there's something strange about Lambda Delta's existence.
Don't worry about it.
It's, how should I put it? Maybe like she's a being from a higher dimension. In any event, I was still unsure about how to deal with her. The only thing that was certain was that she was my enemy. No, just knowing that might be enough, but... So, do you have some business with me?
No, it's just in the area. I thought I'd drop by and say a little how do you do. But when I listened in on your conversation, it started to get really bit interesting. Thought I'd let you hear something good.
You're supposed to be my enemy. I can't think of a reason for you to tell me something that'd help me. So the moment I start listening to you, I lose. Bye. See you next time.
Don't misunderstand. My opponent is Burn, not you. In other words, it's possible for there to be a topic that benefits both you and me.
Sorry, but I don't feel like listening. Although I said that, I probably won't be released from this frozen time until Lambda Delta is satisfied. This itself might be proof that she's in a higher dimension than me. I haven't been given the option of not listening to her. All I can do is try not to be shaken by anything she says and strengthen my mental guard. She'll probably try to make me believe something disadvantageous to me, threatening me.
There's no need to square off like that. I just came to resolve your misunderstanding. No, that's not quite it. I came to let you know about the lie Burncastle told you.
Burncastle lied?
Fuck.
Didn't Burn make it sound like your big brother would come back if you defeated Beato?
Who knows? I don't feel like talking with you. My brother coming home. I hadn't been promised anything that dreamlike. Getting just one person, only if I was lucky, had been a promise without very high hopes. But that's enough for me. After being promised an eternity of isolation, having a faint but still non-zero chance was like a shining beacon.
In a way, the promise of Burns wasn't a lie. It Burn promised, and I'm sure that if you defeat Beato, Battler and your parents will be released and will come back to you.
Then there's no problem.
Oh, I found the voice again. She sounded a little bit like this, didn't she?
But that one I think was Ava Beatrice.
Oh, this one was Ava Beatrice. That's right.
I'm sure it's
Seriously?
it's fine.
That kid is surprisingly cruel.
Well, a little bit less of the like that bit in there.
That kid is surprisingly cruel. To think she'd deceive you even though she knows.
How are you saying I was deceived? Damn, I'm letting her take the initiative. But I won't be released until I lend an ear to her, so it's something I'll have to hear anyway. Even though I realized I was falling into a trap, I urged her forwards.
What year is it now?
You're talking about the world of the game board? In that case, it's October 4th, 1986.
That's right. So if you win against Beato, then on October 6th, when the typhoon is passed, the people who are trapped in the island will return. On October 6th, 1986, that is right.
So what?
How was your October 6th, 1986? You were at your relative's house, right?
I'd been at the house of the only Sumadera my mother trusted, Grandpa. We got a call. When I was playing with building blocks in the tatami room, we got that call. After watching to make sure that I'd remembered, Lambda Delta laughed unpleasantly and spoke.
Hey, on your October 6th, 1986, did Battler Oni-chan come home? All caps.
Even though I didn't understand what she was saying, I noticed an unpleasant sweat seeping out all over my face.
It's just you realizing you can't actually make a change to the past, right?
I don't get it. I don't get it. What is this witch saying?
Is that another thing where they're speaking katakana?
I don't know.
See, if you defeat Beato, Battler will certainly be released. He'll probably return home. To his home in 1986. After all, that's how it is, right? Battler was locked up from the 4th to the 5th of October 1986. It's only natural he'd return the next day if he were to be released, right? And you? You're a person from the year 1998. You're Romeo Angie of the year 1998, where Battler did not return. Know what that means?
What are you talking about? If my family came back home on October 6th, wouldn't that be wonderful? I'd come home from Grandpa's house right away, and then we'd meet. Everyone would be happy.
She's assuming that, oh, Angie. See, I hadn't even given it a second thought because that's just the kind of thing that clicked naturally with me because I like a lot of time travel stuff like that. And like that's just a consequence that was like naturally like, oh yeah, of course.
Fragments. Different fragments.
Yeah. Ushiromi Angie would probably be reunited with her family. The 6-year-old Ushiromi Angie from 1986 would, right?
Who am I?
Ushiromi Angie, an 18-year-old one. No, that's not it. You aren't Ushiromi Angie. You're a witch's piece with that name. Strictly speaking, the name Angie Beatrice belongs to a completely different person. You know what that means?
I don't really get it anymore. Huh? Huh? Who am I? Huh?
And that's why I think Byrne's cruel. No, I don't think she's a meanie. Especially since it's not like she hasn't gone through the same thing herself.
Am I being tricked somehow?
Yeah, but please don't blame Byrne, okay? After all, depending on how you look at it, that kid isn't lying. If Beato is defeated, your family will be returned. Returned to Ushiromi Angie. But she probably didn't say that this Ushiromi Angie would be you, right?
Was it like that? Was it like that?
So now she's coming to the realization that, yeah, even if it happens, it won't be the one that, okay, yep.
What did Berncastle say to me again?
Your assistance is required. Your family needs it.
Berncastle started by saying that. Then I spoke. If I save them, does that mean my family will come home? And how did Berncastle answer that again?
I cannot promise that.
She did make me a promise. In exchange for accepting this fight. Yes, this is what she said.
In exchange, I will search for a fragment with the ideal world that you wish for. A world where your family comes home.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, see, but I thought that had been very clear from the, okay.
She didn't say any more than that she'd look for it. She didn't say she'd find it. But I was prepared for that from the beginning. But even so, that child promised that as long as I didn't give up, there was a faint chance of it happening. And in the end, she said this.
I'm giving you a chance for revenge. In exchange, I promise to search for and bring you the happiest resolution among the possibilities you're capable of accepting.
I've known it was a tough bet from the very beginning. After all, I have no family in my 1998. Even just a small chance of shaking that absolute zero would be worth it. I was warned beforehand that even if I succeeded in my revenge, it might be a wasted effort. So,
Yeah, there's no lying that part. Beato's game board is perfect. Even having you around makes the chances of Beato losing so slim that it's doubtful you could ever dream of it happening once in your life. In other words, your chance of winning is almost zero, so absolutely that could be regarded as infinitely close to zero. So Byrne can be forgiven for saying that part in such an evasive way. But I can say for sure that she was tricking you when she let you get your hopes up. After all, even if you could overcome astronomical odds and win, the person your family will come back to isn't you. It's the 6-year-old Angie that exists in this 1986. The true Ushiromi Angie. Not you. Byrne will probably still go around the billions of fragments searching for the best world for you. But didn't she tell you that she planned on bringing it to you as a present, but wasn't able to find it?
she did.
You're finally starting to notice, aren't you? No reward has been prepared for you in this battle. No, to the contrary, when smashed, Beato's game board will disappear. Then you, as a piece, will disappear. The sort of goal you'd be capable of accepting is something completely... No, I'll proclaim it upon my name. Upon the name of the Witch of Certainty, Lambda Delta, I proclaim that it certainly doesn't exist.
That can't be.
That's what Byrne lied about, or should I call it speaking in riddles? Riddles. She made you misunderstand and think that you could be saved. I came to clear that up.
In other words, no matter how hard I fight, no matter how hard I pursue victory, my family won't come back to me?
Right, they won't come back. With certainty. The Witch of Certainty says it with certainty. Isn't this incredible?
I need to see that new face. I need to see that new face. Oh, that's very good. That's better, though.
Several ancient kings have dedicated historical buildings to me because they wanted me to give them certainty. And here I am, graciously giving it to you as a present. Isn't this really incredible? Cute and marvelous? But I have a single good proposition for you.
Damn. I'm getting completely overwhelmed. I knew I shouldn't have listened, and I'm starting to be overwhelmed by this witch Lambda Delta.
My opponent is Burn, not you. Didn't I just say that it's possible for the two of us to talk about something that benefits us both? I said that from the beginning, so listen to me. You have no choice.
Okay, I'll listen. I just gotta listen, right? I finally lost control over my emotions and exploded from the inside. I don't have a clue anymore. I believed that I was Angie, but at some point I stopped being Angie. That's right, I'm Angie, not Angie. Who am I? I'm not my parents' child, nor my brother's little sister. I'm just a piece in a witch's game.
There's no need to be so pessimistic. I mean, think about it, okay? Right now, you're together with Battler Oni-chan. While it's true that you can't tell him your name, at least you're positioned as his ally in a game where he battles a witch, and you're able to be with him for all eternity. Know what it means?
I can't stand it, but I understand. In other words, as long as Oni-chan keeps getting a tie in this game, it will continue forever.
So as long as she doesn't ever let herself come to the actual truth of what happened, she can keep replaying the scenario in her head and...
Oh my god.
That. Oh.
And the answer arcs will then be about gradually coming to terms with the painful truth that no one's coming back.
Yep.
Oh no.
See, I get... See, the thing is, I had already kind of assumed that was the case from earlier on, but I guess I was a bit further ahead on that than I expected.
Continuing to tie means continuing the game for eternity, and it means that I can remain with Oni-chan as a piece. But if Oni-chan wins or loses, and the curtain closes on the game...
You as a piece will disappear. How do you define happiness for a game piece? Getting used by someone playing the game, nothing more. You won't find it when the game's shut in a closet gathering dust, right?
In the past, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory said it as well. Furniture's happiness comes from being used, not being stored away. That's right. I am now the witch's furniture.
Let's change things around a bit. To be honest, I want this game to continue in a tie for all eternity. Not any game is an eternal cage, and an absolute closed room that never opens for all time, and that'll finally make Burn surrender. And then she'll be mine, and I can finally... Well, never mind. That's between her and me, not you. Bernie's mine. Hands off.
All right.
Wench. You know, Beto does want to win a bit. Victory by making Battler surrender. But that's actually a problem for me. After all, if the game ends, the closed room will fall apart. So I go easy on Battler a bit to stop him from surrendering. Don't worry, okay? When Battler's about to surrender, I'll become his ally. But you know, I get the feeling that Beato is faintly starting to realize. I think she's starting to realize that her victory won't come for all eternity in this game. But she is, of course, the Endless Witch. Beato's stupid, so she optimistically thinks that even so, she'll surely win eventually. Like she just has to repeat this game on and on endlessly.
Achoo!
Oh, Beto, you alright?
I don't know, I just got this feeling that, someone was talking about me, bro.
Oh, happens to me all the time. Tissue.
Thank you.
Of course, pretty much all blondes are morons. I die mine.
In this game of witches, there will never be a victory or a loss?
I won't let her win, and I won't let her lose, with certainty. Burn noticed that, so she looked for the most powerful piece for breaking that deadlock, found you and threw you in, to make this game end, you see.
To make this game end?
What's a piece's role when the game ends? I'll state it clearly. Your existence is a contradiction. Your reason for existing is to bury yourself in the darkness in despair.
My goal is to defeat Beato and release my captive family. And yet, even if I succeed, I won't be rewarded.
You cannot lose, and you won't be rewarded if you win. So I brought you a third choice, and that choice will make our interests coincide.
Continuing the tie for all eternity.
Yep. As long as the tie continues forever, this world will not crumble. What is this world? It's the world of the game with the witch. A world where Beato and Battler fight for all eternity. And at the same time, it's a world where you get to be with Battler for all eternity.
My head was spinning.
Oh, my head's spinning.
That confusion became a hot liquid, and I felt it pouring from my eyes. It was so hot that it felt like it had burned my face.
Right? Angie Beatrice? Since Burncastle's goal is to end the game and end the world where you and Battler can interact, why should you be her ally? That kid tricked you, you see. She made it look like you might be saved if you came to her peace, but I won't deceive you there. So I'll say it, Angie. Become my chess piece. Unlike Burn, I won't offer you rewards based on lives that certainly will never be granted. As long as you become my piece and help me so that this world certainly never ends, then with certainty I will swear upon my name that this world will certainly continue. That's not all. I'll add on a little bonus onus. This rule that binds you. I'll clear it away for you. But of course I'll only do it after you've sworn to become my piece, okay?
In my own throat, there was a thick, loud, gulping sound. I shouldn't have listened. If I hadn't listened, I could have remained an innocent little sister, praying for my brother's victory. But I might be different now. I might have been degraded into a witch's furniture, one that cares about nothing but being by Oni-chan's side.
I'm not telling you to betray your brother, okay? If it looks like Battler's gonna lose, you can save him with all you got. On the other hand, when Battler closes in on Beato too much, I want you to hold back a little. That's all I'm asking, alright? Don't worry, there's no need to actually betray Battler. Battler can't win against Beato alone. That's why Battler threw you in, see? Or why Burn threw you in, see? As long as you don't lend a hand, Battler will be unable to win against Beato for all eternity. See? It's really simple, isn't it?
Damn!
Damn, son!
So, can we take a look at the character portraits and info? Because we haven't looked at that in a while.
You're right, and it did get updated. Let's hold on. It's gonna bring us to this thing here. Let's check out.
So what do we got here?
This is all the same. Oh wait, hold on. You got a thing. Professor Atsuki. Professor at a certain college, well known as an authority on the subject of Western folklore. Also, but apparently not cool enough to get new artwork. Oh wait, is that the pachinko artwork? Is that what it was? That's the new artwork for everyone?
Yeah.
Primary focus of the witch hunt is the pasting together of occult stories to try to make them match with the Rokkenjima incident, making much more of a mental game for dilettantes and enthusiasts of the mystical than a scientific investigation into the truth of the crime. Kasumi, daughter of the declining noble family Sumadera, Kirie's younger sister. Despises her sister and by extension Angie as well. Opposite of the free-willing person Kirie. I think we've read through these.
Have we? This seems new to me.
Since she's the opposite of the free-wheeling person Kirie once was, and holds appearance in high regard, possessing a strong ambition for philanthropy. However, this is all just a craving for the limelight caused by the complex she has towards her sister. There are several opposing factions in the Sumadera family, and they're constantly engaged in a secret feud over who will control the vast wealth Angie holds.
So what about the two in the top right there? Have we seen theirs? Ah, the winky face.
A leading member of the Ushiromiya group. Between the time of Ava's death and Angie succeeding her position, management of the group has fallen to core members like him in her stead. However, Angie has no desire to inherit that role, leaving the group on the brink of fracturing internally and putting Okanogi in a difficult position. He was once the president of a foodstuffs distribution company and had intimate relationship with Hideyoshi's business. Because of that long-lasting association, Ava trusted him particularly, and he was appointed to an important post within the group.
Oh my god.
Former guard of Ava's.
It's Shadow the Hedgehog.
It really got his. Fundamentally a thrill-seeker, willing to take on dangerous jobs for very little pay. At one point he did work as a guard for Angie, but after repeatedly violating Ava's strict orders not to speak to her, Ava grew to dislike him and fired him. Angie seemed not to mind having him around, as he would often chat with her. This man, who has traveled between the Japan Self-Defense Force, the Foreign Legion, and non-government military companies, has skill in counter-sniping and protecting VIPs.
Oh hey, the stakes.
Nice.
Wait. Some of these are new. Okay, so the description, She's always looking for a boyfriend in the hopes that her sisters will finally accept her as an adult. However, she keeps aiming too high and whiles away each day dreaming of the prince who will never come.
What the when do you have time to do that? And then Satan, always quick to scold people, which is why the other sisters are so scared of her. For that reason, no one's ever willing to talk back to her, and she's actually quite lonely all the time. She'll sometimes intentionally do things that ought to get her in trouble, but none of the sisters ever scold this lonely furniture back. Interesting. And Levy has a brutal, deeply envious nature and is adept at spotting people's weaknesses. More of a selfish crybaby than a person burning with envy. For some reason, she's not very good at handling tough situations, and she often ends up coming in at the last among the sisters, getting the short end of the stick and crying. Personally similar to Hemmons, yeah. Always talking about food, which makes her a calming influence among the sisters. However, she also has a disturbing desire to kidnap pretty boys and store them in the food cellar. Where do you kidnap the boy? I don't understand what context this information gives us.
I know, right? We've seen this one.
Yeah.
We've seen this one. Oh. Interesting.
Stayed by Angie's side throughout her training period, greatly encouraging her master to become a full true witch. Very special person, even among the 7 sisters.
Special, huh?
Then we got Maria. Oh, look at her new outfit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. The Witch of Origins, who will live for 1,000 years in the future. She holds the motherly magical power to give birth to one from the Sea of Zero. At a glance, this magical power is frail, but no matter how many times you multiply 0, you'll never end up with anything more than 0. However, the one she gave birth to will one day surpass even the heavens. She is loyally protected by Beatrice, who understands her true worth. The two of them are members of the same alliance. You know who doesn't have a picture here? Sakutaro.
That's interesting. I wonder if he's
That's sad.
gonna have one. What's on the next screen? Okay, so we got the family there.
Hey, there he is! And now the witches. Yay! Oh, look at how happy he is. The beloved furniture of Lady Maria, a witch of Mariage Sorcière. He's Lady Maria's white heart itself. Might even say he's a second Lady Maria and irreplaceable to her. He holds decoration as a diplomat, and none may attack him. Not any of the witches, weapons, and furniture in the Alliance, nor any of the demons and divine spirits in contract with the Alliance. The fuck? What am I supposed to make of that?
Okay, do we have other new info here? Oh, the Voyager witches who cross the Sea of Fragments are beings far superior to the witches who cannot leave their own territories.
Okay, so that means she's one of the witches that can float across different timelines, essentially.
Yeah.
Just to simplify the idea a little bit here. Does she have a cattail?
She sure does.
Has she always had a cattail?
I think so.
The fuck?
This game is for furries.
Why does she have a cattail but not the cat ears?
I don't know. That's pretty cute.
The biggest crime here.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
What do we know about Lambda? Oh, yeah, that's new too.
Mm-hmm.
Her goal is an eternal tie. She'll ally with Beatrice as a general rule, but she'll support Battler when it looks like he's about to resign. And when it looks like Beatrice is about to be cornered, she'll start supporting the witch again. The willpower of certainty is far stronger than the endless, which just repeats over and over idly.
Interesting. Loves bullying the weak and is capable of using trial and error endlessly to find the cruelest fate they can possibly be given. Okay.
This one we've seen, Beato's description.
Okay, and then Maria. And then Goldsmith?
Oh, this is new info.
Goldsmith is Kinzo's sorcerer name. His skill as a summoner is legendary for the current era. His summoning ability surpasses even Beatrice's at times. However, he is very mismatched, excelling in some areas while fatally lacking as a sorcerer in others. Magic with enough power to reheat a cup of black tea may be beyond him, but he's capable of summoning demons with magic strong enough to boil the sea. The source of his magic is found in arithmetic miracles, and his magical compendium is unique.
Attention, all yoctograms!
Kinzo voice. So Zeta slow. It's times to die. Oh, have I made you a fan of Best Boy?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Source of his magic is found in Arithmetic Miracles. Magical compendium is unique. Later on, even Beatrice took note of this and rearranged her own compendium accordingly. Interesting.
That's interesting.
Oh, hold on one moment. There's one other thing I want to check. I want to do this, and then you look basically the same, and you didn't even get new art. Oh, look, she's just so happy to be there. Yeah, okay, we've seen all. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all the same. Okay.
And do we have anything else in tips yet?
Tips.
We don't have anything.
We
in
have
tips
literally
this
nothing
chapter.
in tips.
Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting.
Interesting.
Well, that was a fruitful investigation.
That was a fruitful investigation. I feel like we've learned a couple new things here.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.